Hello, my name is Ed, and I've got a question for you. Are you tired of the buzz around bourbon? Are you sick of scotch? Does Irish whiskey make you ill? Well, then you've come to the right place, because this is the Rot Gut Review, and today is Fryeday. The day where we talk about nothing but rye whiskey. Oh yes, it's time to hit that intro music for Alright, today I'm reviewing Sagamore Spirit Rye Whiskey 8-year-old. Now this is coming to us from Baltimore, Maryland. Oh my coming! Now this whiskey right here is actually a blend of two different mash bills, both of them sourced from MGP in Indiana. MGP is this massive distillery that makes a ton of rye whiskey, and a lot of smaller producers, either because they haven't made their own stuff yet, or just because they want to source from MGP, are getting their whiskey from them and then bottling it. Some people may find that a little funny, but sourcing distillate is a long tradition in the whiskey industry. It's very common. Now, we don't know the exact mash bills that make up Sagamore Rye. On their website, they just tell us that one is a very high rye mash bill, and the other is a slightly lower rye mash bill. Knowing what we know about MGP, we can kind of extrapolate and figure out, well, the high rye mash bills, probably they're 95% rye, 5% malted barley mash bill. And the other one is probably more like a 65% rye, which is a more traditional mash bill for Maryland rye. Maryland rye is one of the famous rye styles that originated on the East Coast, along with Monongahela rye. Monongahela rye originated in Pennsylvania and tended to have a lot more rye grain in the mash bill, less corn and less barley. Maryland rye tended to be a little bit smoother and creamier, had a little less rye in the mash bill, so more of that corn and more of that barley contributed flavor. But this guy right here is a new addition from Sagamore. This is an 8-year-old rye. Usually their regular straight rye is 4 to 6 years old. Before we go any further, I should mention that this product is distributed by the company I work for during my day job. However, I paid for this with my own money at retail price, so don't worry about that. Now, I really love a really spicy rye. And being that Maryland ryes tend to have more of a reputation for being a little bit smoother, a little bit creamier, we'll see what I think about this. I'm not counting it out yet. I always tell people, never judge a rye by the mash bill. Never do it. Just because it says it's lower in rye doesn't mean it's going to be less spicy. There's a lot of other factors that contribute, because how they fermented it, how they distilled it, and how they aged it all make a huge difference when it comes to the actual rye you get in your glass. So let's check this baby out. I do like the smell of that. Cinnamon, peach marmalade, little bit of caramel, some cloves, some black pepper. It's actually reminding me a little bit of an apple pie. Right? Like when those apples get nice and cooked and soft, and you got the cinnamon and the brown sugar on it. Yeah. And with 8 years in the cask, you are getting a little bit of some vanilla, a little bit of caramel. It certainly does have a slightly sweeter edge than some of the bone-dry craft ryes that, well, let's face it, I tend to drink. But let's get a taste, hey? When it first hit my tongue, I got a note that I really don't get with rye, pretty much ever. And that was boysenberry. I don't know if you guys have had like fresh boysenberries. They're not that common a fruit, I know, but seriously, like when it first hits your tongue, boysenberry. Weird. It also does have a little bit of black tea. Definitely the cinnamon is there. Certainly the caramels and vanillas. But I'm also getting a slight bittersweet note. Now, in addition to the boysenberry, there's definitely also some kind of peachy stone fruit notes there. The peachio isn't as strong as in some other ryes, I will say. It kind of takes a back seat to more of that cinnamon, more of that kind of appley thing I was talking about. But it's there. The things I'm not noticing, though, are things I think a lot of people might be happy to know aren't in there. And that's the black licorice and the dill. I'm really not getting any dill on this guy. I'm really not getting any black licorice. Now those are common in other styles of rye, certainly in a lot of craft ryes these days. And I know a lot of people don't like those. Me, personally, I'm a big fan of those. I like that big old dill note. I love that pickly note, and I love that black licorice. So am I a little disappointed that's not there? Maybe. But I totally get it that there are going to be some people who really love this rye specifically because those notes aren't there. So if you're someone who's coming to rye from bourbon or even from Irish whiskey, this is probably a pretty good one for you. It's got a little bit more spice, but it certainly still has a lot of that barrel influence that you're going to love. And it's not going to scare you away with those big old dill notes that I know you hate. So you know what? I like this. This is a little bit more of an easygoing rye, but it still has a ton of big flavor. It's not going to leave you disappointed. Do I still prefer ryes that rip my face off when I drink them? Yeah, a little bit. But this is a good one too. So this has been Fryeday on the Rye Gut Review. If you enjoy this kind of rye-centric content, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button because it does help out the channel. I'm not sure how, but YouTube says it does, and I believe everything YouTube tells me. But most importantly, until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay rotten.